Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Silver stuff, and the crypto stuff. We are looking at another breakout of silver. It wants to go to 50. It wants to test the all-time high from 1980, from 2011. Both were rigged, by the way, up and down. It's pretty much hard to fully understand the capabilities of the riggers. They can literally put the price of silver at minus $40 like they did with oil. They can put the price of silver at $1 million an ounce. It all depends on what which side of the win-loss column, the riggers want to be on. And they know, you're talking about J.P. Morgan Chase, HSBC, the U.S. government, the Federal Reserve. All these are part of the cabal that rigs the prices. And it's not just silver, it's everything. There is not a market and exchange out there that is not 90 to 100% rigged, including cryptos. Sorry to say, crypto people. I'll have more to say on that in a second. But the only way to survive this is to have the physical metal in your own possession and have cryptos in your own possession, and so that you don't care about price. What you care about is what you have in your hands. So yeah, in 1980, yes, the Hunt brothers weren't trying to corner the silver market, but they were trying to help the U.S. get out of the clutches of the market riggers. They had held the price down too long. The Hunt brothers said, "Oh my God, I'm American. I'm going to go after the price of silver to free my country." And like most people, you get screwed if you try to do that, because the United States has gone to a system of rigging and cheating and lying and stealing. And yes, I love my country. No, I do not love my country's take on financial systems, including Trump. He's a better rigger than anybody else, so you got to be careful on what he says, especially about crypto. Is this a con, or is he going to pull the rug? It's easy to pull the rug on crypto. Bix, how can you say that? Well, let's take a look at that in a second. But first, let's talk about happy news. Silver is running up to $39. There's no real resistance to 50. It might take till September or so to get there. And then the question is, will they allow the price of silver on the COMEX, the futures and options market, to rise? Now, they've cleared the balance sheet of J.P. Morgan Chase, of Bank of America, of Wells Fargo, such that they can hold a much larger derivative portfolio, which is exactly what the silver price is. Silver price, these are futures and options traded on the COMEX. That's all it is. The real price of silver, maybe it's not London, the LBMA. It's not even an exchange. And they lie like you wouldn't believe, even more than the COMEX. But maybe the Hong Kong exchange is getting closer to a real physical market, and they're running out of metal. Everybody's running out of metal, although it doesn't look like it from the reports from J.P. Morgan Chase, the largest holder of COMEX metal. And oh, by the way, they're also the custodian for the largest ETF in the world that holds half a billion ounces. So how many of those are double counted? Ted Butler used to always talk about this. Yeah, we can have, there's X amount, there's 300, 400, 500 million ounces held here, but also there's 500 million ounces in SLV. Are you double counting them all? Of course they are. Of course they are. JP Morgan Chase, the largest holder of silver in the warehouses, COMEX warehouses, and the ETF. So COMEX warehouses hold ETF metal. So you can just basically erase the ETF. Although there's more rehypothecation of that asset, the SLV. It's the worst thing. I hear the crypto people say, "Oh my God, we're going to get ETFs and all this shit and stable coins." These are all derivatives. All it's doing is going to make the crash 100 times worse. But hey, place your bets, right? Place your bets. All right, real interesting to see. We all know that Bank of America leased, had some kind of derivative structured transaction with J.P. Morgan Chase. After J.P. Morgan Chase got busted for rigging the silver market, they had accumulated over $1.2 billion ounces of silver, 10 times what the Hunt brothers did, 10 times what Warren Buffett did in the late 90s. But they weren't busted. And then Trump came in and they were almost busted. They were kind of busted. They paid the largest fine in commodity history. I think it was the largest at the time, $920 million. But they booked $1 billion gain in that same product category the next year, or that same year that they took the loss. So losses don't matter. It's part of, if the government sues you, that's part of doing business for J.P. Morgan Chase, the most criminal bank on the planet, and the ultimate controller of silver. And, oh, by the way, if the Epstein stuff comes out, you have no more J.P. Morgan Chase. It's just crazy what's going on right now. Anyway, one thing to be interested in is this. Confirmed by Bank of America, silver soars and could be the star investment through 2026 for its role in solar and technology. I mean, this is not rocket science for 99% of the silver investing population. This is just basic stuff. But to have a Bank of America, who supposedly subleased or leased, was the lessee of the 1.2 billion ounces from J.P. Morgan, which we saw in the OCC data. But nobody talks about where it went from there. It was subleased to other people who put them in derivatives and sold them off to raise cash. It was cheap money back in the day. If the banks are charging you 4%, 5%, but you can get money for pretty much free with all the silver flooding the market. So you're fine. You get cheap money, and then you buy some futures contracts, but sometimes you're going to have to pay it back. And that's what we've seen all year in the COMEX. Massive deliveries. Now, this month was half as much. I talked about this in a post yesterday. Half as much as silver was asked for this month compared to the other delivery months. And our friend Ms. Jenny Moonstone said, hey, there's something wrong. It's going to happen that they're going to not ask for the amount because they don't have it, and then they're going to be delivering it during the month and the following months, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And that's what we've seen. So 35 million ounces was originally stood for delivery in July, and they've already delivered over 50 million ounces if you include the micro silver contracts, which are 1,000-ounce contracts. So we're over 50 million ounces delivered so far. There's still 7-8 days left before the next month's contract. August is not a delivery month, but I do expect to see banks like Wells Fargo Bank. Now, Wells Fargo Bank has been all of a sudden a pretty big silver player, taking deliveries and making deliveries. And that falls just exactly in line with being a sublessee of Bank of America of the silver leased out by J.P. Morgan Chase. All these banks, and they all collude together. And it's very embarrassing for the CFTC. Not that there's anybody left there. It'll be interesting to see, both the remaining commissioners have given notice, but I think they're both still there, pseudo kind of. But one worked for J.P. Morgan Chase and the other worked for Citibank. You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, here's Bank of America saying, what is happening with silver? Silver is getting a lot of attention right now. Francisco Blanch of Bank of America talked to CNBC about the war between Russia and Ukraine is shaking up the markets and pushing silver's price up. That's bullshit. That's a lie. The only reason silver's price goes up is because they rig it up. If they want to go higher, they'll make it go higher. If they want to go lower, they'll make it go lower. It's very simple. It's 500 to 1 derivatives to silver. If you include mining shares and SLV and all that, 500 to 1 derivative to silver trading. What could go wrong, right? In all those derivatives. Currently, we're down yesterday. The big guys are short about 400, as of the last Commitment of Traders report, about 437 million ounces. The top four, 150. Sorry. 437 million. The top four, 150 million. So of the top 8 silver shorts, every dollar that silver goes up, they lose 437 million in book value. At some point in time, book value has to become real value. The game they play, which we all know, is looked at right here. The big guys buy below the moving averages. It used to be that the banks, the bullion banks, J.P. Morgan, HSBC, all the big guys, Bank of America was nothing. before JP Morgan got busted. So was JP Morgan customers. It was nothing. And now they're the biggest. And Bank of America is the biggest derivative holder in silver. And then you got, Wells Fargo. All these are new entrants. They don't know how deadly a short position in silver is. So the game is for the bullion banks to allow the price to rise, short into the rise, and then slam it under the moving averages. Well, the problem now is because it's not getting slammed down, because there's way too many buyers beneath the moving averages, including China, including India. The most reported is India, and then Russia has already said they're buying silver. This is not a fool's game. This is a game of big boys, bigger than J.P. Morgan, bigger than the criminals that run the banking cabal, bigger than the crypto cabal. There's all kinds of cabals out there. This is country cabals. This is Russia, China, the United States. Everybody is fighting for control of the system. I think Trump's latest moves that nobody can really understand have to do with creating more and more derivatives so that the bubble is big enough to destroy the system. And yes, stable coins in crypto, almost all crypto, are derivatives, especially the stable coins. Why do I say stable coins are derivatives? Their price is derived from something else, the underlying asset, which should be US dollars or treasuries or whatever it is, but it's a derivative, and all it does is increase the bubble, the monetary bubble. That's when it pops, everything's going to be destroyed, including the crypto market. Just keep an eye on that. That's why you have to have your cryptos in your own possession. Cryptos are for after the crash, after the dust settles. And I think there's some very important ones to have. I don't know if Bitcoin itself will survive. It's getting, lumped in with all these other cryptocurrencies and all the derivatives on Bitcoin. Yes, there's massive derivatives. Chris Giancarlo, the head of the CFTC, back in 2018, when they crashed the crypto market, said we had to bring in derivatives. We had to bring in ETFs for Bitcoin. Otherwise, the price would have just kept going up. That's the head of the regulators saying we rigged the price of Bitcoin. We crashed it. And he admitted it. And he said he worked with Trump and Mnuchin, and the whole team did it. So what's Trump doing now? Oh, yeah, everybody get into cryptos. If he took down the old financial system and we were, the crypto market stayed strong, the bad guys would have all the control. So I'm not blaming him. I'm just warning you guys. This whole allowing stable coins. Where do they hold their assets? They hold them in the banks. When you're going to pull the plug on the banks, you can pull the plug on every single stable coin out there, which pulls the plug on all that derivative bullshit that they're doing, the DeFi, decentralized finance. There's nothing DeFi about it for the most part. It's not decentralized at all. They're going to pull the plug on it, and you got to be ready. You weren't ready at FTX, and I was screaming. I remember someone was talking to Litecoin Lisa on her show, and I text Lisa, I said, get me on that show, because this is a fraud. Not a fraud, but they don't understand that there's other things going on behind the scenes. If you're getting 20, 30% return by staking one of your assets to a structured deal, oh, you can't lose. That's the first sign you're going to lose. And FTX proved that. That implosion. I can't believe anybody got caught up in that. It's shocking. And Solana and all that bullshit, and now it's happening again. There's I forgot the Falcon coin or something like that, a stable coin that's just purely fraud. And they're supposedly had a couple $100 million of assets, crypto assets, that are linked up to it or something, or IOUs. I don't know. Whoever takes the backside of these transactions are screwed. And oh, by the way, do you know Reggie Middleton has the patent for all stablecoins? And Reggie has the patent for what XRP is doing. That should be obvious to everybody. Anyway, yeah, so what can you do? What can you do? You can get your real assets off the exchanges, out of the way of the coming freight train. sit on the sidelines. But everybody's making so much money in XRP and doing, the leveraged silver mining companies. We're going to make so much money. You're screwed. At the end of the day, when this falls apart, nothing's going to be left standing. That's owned by a third party. What you own in your own possession, that's what's going to be left standing. That's just me, though. Good luck on that. Very interesting gold-silver ratio is now down below 90. Remember, we were screaming above 100. Oh, my God, oh, my God. It's a no-brainer. Of course it's a no-brainer. Look at this. This is the last, let's do all. Since 2020. Look at this. This is artificial. By the way, this peak right here, that was when JP Morgan Bank of America deal was going on. And Jamie Dimon put his head of, they call it the head of the SWAT team for JP Morgan Chase, a guy named Bill Daley, as Obama's chief of staff. And I was screaming, something's going on with silver. And that started the artificial bear market. Oh, not that one. Sorry, that's 2011, the 2011 spike. Down here. This is when silver went to 50. I'm like, look out. And then poof, it started artificial bear market. Now we're in this range. Everybody should say, oh my God, the gold-silver ratio is so far out of whack. Even historically, when it's been 15 to 1, it has to do with the amount of silver in the ground and above the ground. And right now, there is very little silver in the ground that we know of compared to what we're consuming every year. We're consuming more than we're taking out of the ground. And all that silver that's stockpiled over thousands and thousands of years, most of that is gone. It's been used up in electronics, in the Internet of Things, in cars, and solar panels. Oh my God, nobody even knows anymore what solar. You have the worst people in the world cheating, lying, and stealing about how much silver is being used in solar panels. We're going to do 700 gigawatts this year in solar. More than ever before. Like quadruple what was just a couple years ago. But they're saying, we're not using any silver in that. You're idiots. No, they're criminals. But hey, keep fighting the fight. Very exciting. Oh, look at that. Theta hits a buck. You might be laughing. Bix, wasn't it at 15? Of course it was at 15. It was also at 4 cents when I was screaming about it. 5 cents. I'm screaming about it at $1. Is it going to be the thousands of dollars like Michelle Whitedove had predicted? Absolutely. It is the most important crypto by far. By far. If you like the internet, if you like AI, and Theta, thank God, have changed from hiring idiotic marketing examples to let's just do business. So yes, they signed up 2 more universities, and that's so key, especially for AI. Where is AI really being used and understood and studied? In the universities. We're training the smartest people in the world on the Theta AI solution. Cheaper, faster, larger. When you link everything together, you're the biggest. And that's what Theta has done. So yeah, Theta and Theta Fuel are going to go crazy. The relationship right now at 20 to 1 or 25 to 1, I like Theta Fuel more than Theta right now. I love them both, don't get me wrong. If Theta goes up 10x, that's great. It's a $10 Theta. If it goes up 100x, yeah, it should. Would Theta go higher? Absolutely. The more use Theta Fuel, the more use Theta Fuel is used, it's burned. Theta Fuel ultimately will be deflationary as everybody starts going, oh my God, the Theta offering compared to everything else is cheaper, faster, better. And it's decentralized for the most part. Parts are not. Parts are with Theta Labs. And that's evolving over time. So anyway, yeah, when you're looking at cryptos and you want to be in cryptos, that's my number one pick. Is right now it's T-Fuel, Theta or T-Fuel, but mainly T-Fuel, and have some Veritasium for after the crash. But who knows before? I heard the request for the freeing of Reggie Middleton was denied, which is, the whole thing is so ridiculous. Reggie's really the only guy who's been prosecuted and persecuted for dealing in cryptos, because he was taking He was taking away the power from the banking cabal. You don't do that to the banking cabal. They destroy you. They always have. Anyway, nice to see Theta above $1. It'll be nice to see it above $10, $100, $1,000. So yeah, you can get your Theta at crypto.com. The rest of the world is not getting it there. Very few people in the United States are buying Theta. And I can tell you right here, crypto.com did a total volume of 147,000, whereas Binance does, right here, 8 million a day, 10 million a day. Upbit is the other large one at 3 million a day, and that's South Korea. South Korea knows what's going on. The Samsung mafia. Samsung is a partner with Theta, along with Amazon Cloud is a partner with Theta, along with everybody else and their mother. Really interesting little comment right where? Oh, I might have lost it. Mitch Liu said something. Oh, yeah, it's in here. The latest partnership is with George Mason University. We're pleased to announce that the Security and Emerging Computer Systems and Technology, SECSAT, lab at James Madison University, led by Assistant Professor, I can't say that name, has selected the Theta Edge Cloud Hybrid to accelerate its research in security and privacy. Well, listen to what Mitch Liu says at the end. First of all, why did they choose the Hybrid Edge Cloud? Theta's hybrid GPU platform uniquely enables us to scale our security research, said Professor, the guy, I can't say his name. The combination of Theta's cost-effective NVIDIA 3000 and 4000 series GPUs and high-performance A100s and H100s allows us to explore advanced projects in AI-driven security testing and blockchain infrastructure analysis. We can do this at scale without large incremental costs, which is key. But here's what Mitch Liu said, and this is interesting because he's kind of calling out his partners here. Like other recent customers, Professor Zhang from George Madison University and his security research lab selected Edge Cloud Hybrid because of Theta's decentralized infrastructure of tens of thousands of community-run GPUs, Mitch Liu, CEO and founder of Theta Lab, said. This is in direct contrast to centralized cloud providers like Microsoft Azure and others, where the cost is prohibitive at scale and the ramp-up time is 10 times longer to AI productivity. Edge Cloud Hybrid now stands on its own as the leading decentralized cloud infrastructure, one that Microsoft, Amazon, and Google won't be able to ignore. Now, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are already working with Theta Labs. So, what's he doing calling out his partners? He's not necessarily, it's not bad, but they have been ignoring their partnership. I think Mitch, they aren't standing up and saying, oh my God, this is going this way, because they still make money off this. And they make money by being centralized. And they will make money too by being decentralized, but they're not going to make as much. So they're literally waiting till the last second. And all of a sudden, it's you either announce that you're in it or you're going to be out of it. And I think all of them will. Microsoft, Amazon, and Google will all say, oh my God, everything's shifting to decentralized. Don't worry, we're partners with Theta Labs. And those are the three big cloud storage areas and processing. They're three of the biggest companies on the planet. This is our little Theta. And yes, Theta has all these patents to make it happen. That's why I say it is the best use case out of any crypto out there. So we'll see. Yes, you too, XRP people who are waiting for SWIFT to go down and the central banks to embrace XRP. It stuns me that people think that would work, that would happen. Stranger things have happened, though, right? Trump, a lot of people talk about Trump signs the Genius Act, blah, blah, blah. All the Trump changes, everybody in the Trump world's going, what the fuck's going on? My friends over at Beyond Mystic Penny Kelly and Jean-Claude did a little woo-woo chat last night. My take, and I was going to call and say, hey, here's my take. But no, my take is Trump is allowing the cryptos to blow up as big as possible with the stable coins to pull the plug. We've had attempts to take down the system before, 2008, 1987, 2001. They just weren't big enough. And now with all the bonds and all the $3 quadrillion of derivatives, there was a fear that what might be left over after the crash would be the cryptos. And the deep state controls those. With the early diving in of deep state people. So yeah, I think it's very interesting why Trump is doing this, and it's literally just adding more derivatives to that massive derivative bubble. But it will take out if you get everybody into a stable coin or a CBDC or whatever. Central banks already control your purchasing and all that. They control 99% of it. They can cut you off. It doesn't matter that it's called a CBDC or not. It's automatically, they can cut you out of the system, make it extremely difficult. And crypto people have seen that. They've lost bank accounts, but if they wanted to, if they were really angry and said, we ban everything, central bank can do that. So they already have digital control over us. But the reality of stable coins, yes, it's artificial support for the US dollar, which Trump likes. We did it with oil back in the 70s. But the reality is, when the plug is pulled, all those CBDCs or stable coins that have invested in U.S. treasuries and all the crypto people that have thrown their money into that will lose everything. Everything. Because it's just a derivative of a derivative. And the reality is, I don't think it's good at all. It's like people saying, yeah, it was great that we got futures and options for Bitcoin. No, it isn't great. It just gives them more control. And what do they do with more control? They abuse it. Them being the deep state and the good guys. Trump clearly knows that the deep state controls most cryptos on a larger scale with Tether and all that bullshit. I mean, it wasn't long ago everybody's like, oh my God, Tether's going to blow up and take everything with it. And then the interest rates went up, so Tether made massive amounts of money, actually put assets in. And now they're trying to do it all over all stable coins, and it would destroy cryptos. It will. And that's the idea. I think that's Trump's idea for allowing a lot of this stuff is, if we're going to destroy the old system, we have to destroy the deep state and what they use in their new system. And I think XRP will go with that. And a lot of things will go with that. Who knows? There won't be any exchanges open if the banks crash, right? So no one will know the crypto price. There's some decentralized exchanges, but no one will. The exchanges won't be working. They all pay their employees in fiat money. So I think it's deceitful what Trump's doing, but at the same time, I get why he's doing it. We can't have the old system crash and then the pedo gang run the world with cryptos. We got to take them out. So good luck to everybody. That's what I got today. Don't forget to go to Road to. We're currently giving away 50 T-Fuel. Now, just because everything crashes doesn't mean it won't be there in the future. You'll still have your silver. You won't know the price of it, but you'll still have it. You'll still have your cryptos that you've taken off of the exchange. You won't know the price of it, but you still have it. Kind of the same thing. And then a new system has to start, and then you got to look at what cryptos are best for the new system. I do think Cliff High's prediction that Veritasium will surpass the price of Bitcoin will come true after the crash, nothing before. And they're trying to, the very Dow is trying to make things happen for Reggie before the crash, and they just won't let that happen. But after the crash, yeah, peer-to-peer transactions, no more middleman on brokerage accounts, on bank accounts, on any of that shit. So anyway, we're giving away 500 T-Fuel loaded on a paper wallet, mailed to your front door with every subscription or renewal at roadtoro.com. Go check it out. I'll talk to you guys later.